Welcome back to another episode of Which Lightsaber Form Would These Smash Fighters Use? On this episode, we'll be taking a look at a newcomer roster of Super Smash Bros. Melee, the second installment, and despite being a rushed product to the point where Sakurai dislikes it, it's considered as the peak of Smash simply because of its competitive nature. And no matter how many new Smash games and new characters are added, Melee has always been seen as the gold standard of Super Smash Bros. And it still has one of the best video game intros ever made.
What am I fighting for? Is for freedom or is it love? Or is this my destiny to fall?
Sorry, I have a habit of singing in that part.
A day that brings the promise that one day we'll be free.
Now before anyone forgets the 7 lightsaber forms, let's just get into brass tacks and get a quick recap of what they are. Form 1, Shicho, easy to learn, basic combat. Form 2, Makashi, one-on-one sword duels, footwork, and fencing. Form 3, Sorsu, max defense, low offense. Form 4, Ataru, max speed and max acrobatics. Form 5, Xian, the deflection variant. And Form 5, Gemso, the strong attacks variant. Form 6, Neiman, Jack of all trades, master of none. And finally, Form 7, Juyo, the dark side style, or Vapad, the aggression style.
So now that we're in Game 2, it's time to analyze and figure out what lightsaber form these guys would use.
You're so cool. And with my
Peach is known for two things. Either she gets captured over and over again, or she's actually a useful playable for once, but usually mostly happens in the 2D games. 3 games? Not that much. And when she is actually playable, she can sometimes do things like floating in midair, being in party games, being in sports games, having the power to heal, using an umbrella that gives her an emotional mental breakdown, doing whatever Mario does in Mario Wonder, rescuing herself because she needs no man. And finally, Princess Peach Showtime, where she technically has a wide range of costumes with different abilities. Now I don't want to break any rules since we need to talk about normal Peach and not these different types of Peaches. But does she really need to wear those costumes to use those skills outside of her game? Like, can she still be a ninja in her princess outfit? She can definitely still bake without her chef outfit, but she definitely needs her mermaid outfit to swim, or just have a basic swimsuit. With that being said, what would Princess Peach's lightsaber form would be? Form 1? Basic combat? Actually, no. This might sound weird, but what if I told you that Princess Peach is actually a Form 6 Neiman? I know that sounds stupid, but you know what I just remembered? Is that if you actually give Peach a lightsaber, she twirls it like a Jedi! Look at her! Look at that elegance! She's literally a Force user! It doesn't even bother showing it off because she's probably too scared to use it. And unrelated note, Peach actually has an assault rifle on her textures. She has Second Amendment knowledge. Want more proof? She's literally top tier in Smash Ultimate since day 1. So Princess Peach is a certified 100% Form 6 Neiman user. Jack of all trades since she can do anything, maybe that poster wasn't lying. And Master of none, since she keeps getting captured. Shh. Do you hear that? That's right, it's time for an Echo Fire bonus round. Just like Peach, Daisy is basically the same thing as her, except she's a tomboy.
Luigi! Why would I possibly like that coward?
But unlike Peach, she only appeared like in one mainline Mario game, and then sports games where she keeps kicking my ass like a fuck you, Daisy, fuck you! And while in Echo Fire, she is someone who appears in sports games a lot. Now according to Camelot software, they wanted a character to have similar proportions to an athlete. So by the time they saw Daisy's sprite for the first time, the first thing they think of is athletes? Whatever, for all I know, she may be a Form 4 Ataru. I guess that's what you get for appearing in these games a lot.
I mean, she did appear in Super Mario Wonder, and she plays like Mario. So, thank you game director's daughters, for fighting to the death to get her in.
But athletic girls aside, how about we move on to heavyweight champs like... Bowser only wants one thing, and just one thing only. He wants to party! Contrary to popular belief, I don't think Bowser is a bad guy at all. Sure, he may have done some bad things like kidnapping the same princess, but the truth is, he's not even evil at all. In fact, he does have some redeeming qualities that make him a good guy. For starters, he's a pretty good dad, who really cares a lot for his son, and it's not every day you get to see his son and dad have a good couch co-op game together. He's a pretty good corporate businessman, and even when Peach is still dating Mario, Bowser was still willing to be in a stage show with them. A reminder that Super Mario Bros. 3 is a stage play. Yes, it is true that Bowser is a communist and even intends to turn the world into the next USSR, but I'm sure a few political negotiations won't hurt his nation. With that being said, I believe that Ivan Drago is a certified Form 7 Vapad, not Juyo.
Okay, maybe if Bowser did use Force Lightning, which is like a dark side move, but that's like saying Pikachu is a dark side user just because he has electric powers.
Not unpopular are mountain climbers with a hammer. There's nothing I can say about them other than they climb mountains. Hey, not my fault they only have one game. I was originally going to give them a Form 4, but honestly, judging by his gameplay, Form 1. But do you know who should be a Form 4? Obviously she is one, duh, she's a ninja. Of course that's one of Sheik's skills. But you know what I found funny about this character? It's that in Melee and Ocarina of Time, Sheik is basically the same person, but in Brawl, Twilight Princess Zelda somehow can turn into Sheik, even though she never had that, so which one is it? However, let's just talk about the current Zelda. More specifically... yeah, I don't know about this one. Don't get me wrong, in Smash Melee, the Zelda we got is based on OOT Zelda, who definitely has powers as the Sage of Time. But in the next game, the Zelda we got was Twilight Princess Zelda, and like I said before, she can somehow turn into Sheik, despite that being OOT Zelda's alter ego. However, Twilight Princess Zelda does have a sword, but she never used it in combat, or if she did, maybe she could be a Makashi? But should we know that the current Zelda in Smash Ultimate is a Link Between the Worlds version? If memory serves right, I don't think she did much other than, well, exist. With that being said, I'ma consult this view here, which will give me all the answers.
She gets kidnapped early in this one, doesn't do much of anything throughout the game.
Yep, she's off to being a Form 1. Hey, it's not my fault that Sakurai chose this Zelda, but at least that means we should know that the Sheik in Ultimate is probably Ocarina of Time / Twilight Princess era Zelda, and not some alternate variant. Oh, what am I saying? All these characters are just toys in the end. And speaking of another character, it's probably not the same.
I am Dr. Mario and I am saving lives. I look different in this game. I lost the head code, Dr. Light stethoscope.
You know what kinda sucks? Dr. Mario not being some separate relative like an uncle or a cousin. But alas, if this is what Nintendo want, then so be it. Like I said in my last video, when I analyzed Mario's lightsaber form, I personally believe that his default power standard mode is that he's a Form 4 Ataru. But what about when he's a doctor? Is he still a Form 4 Ataru? Well, it's complicated, but you don't really see him fighting back except for matching medicines, realizing that no matter how much of a good doctor you are, you can never run away from your day of death. All the shit because they're pill balls full of viruses, and you can't even fit in them anymore. Form 1 Shicho. Or maybe Form 3 Sorcerer, but Dr. Mario's not an immune system. Just be careful that you don't have too many of them. Pichu is an uninvolved Pikachu, a baby still learning the basics. Form 1 Shicho. Hey, did you know that birds eat rats? I don't think Pichu can survive that with a simple Shicho training, especially to a bird like... Firstly, he prefers the air. I mean, we never really see Falco on foot combat.
Aside from multiplayer mode, he's probably just a fox reskin.
Or if he can fly with his wings. I mean, he's probably too big for that, and we'll probably never see him fight on foot canonically. He might enjoy Sonic speed, but I'm afraid he's going to stick to Form 1 Shicho forever. Unless if he finally gets used to it.
Actually, scratch that. He's not a reskin of Fox. Judging by his speed here, seems to be faster than Fox, but he cannot jump high with those wings. But my point still stands. He probably won't use a lightsaber anytime soon.
But then we have the next fighter who might not be popular at the time, but oh boy, did his franchise cause a stir in the Smash community. Marth is actually pretty easy. His game is tactical turn-based RPG and mostly goes around carrying a sword, and seeing that he wields a rapier and all, there's no debate to discuss his lightsaber form, and that would be Form 2 Makashi. See? Easy. That's what happens when you get too many sword fighters in Smash.
On an unrelated note, when I first saw Marth for the first time, I kinda thought he was a girl, but turns out he was just a dude who looks like a lady. Heck, by the time I played my first Fire Emblem game, we ended up getting a girl pretending to be Marth, as if Nintendo were playing along with the joke. And that next character?
Lucina is just Marth but woman, Form 2 Makashi. I mean, she carries a huge falchion sword, which is bigger than a rapier, but my point still stands. Marth but woman.
No, I'm not gonna call her Form 7 Vapad just because she's from a dark future, because I'm sure she had proper normal sword training before that. Actually, you know what? Form 5 Gemso, probably because her dad gave her all the sword training. So we got a boy who looks like a girl, and a girl who dresses like a boy who looks like a girl. But what about the Fire Emblem character that looks like a boy named...
Oh wait, hold on a second. I got the numbers wrong.
Yeah, my name is Link, man. I'm more well known than Lil Wayne. Oh, you thought my name was Zelda?
As in the previous video, young Link is basically Ocarina of Time Link in his childhood days. In that same video, I had trouble trying to figure out his lightsaber form since there's like 3 Links in Smash now, each from different timelines. But now that we know that young Link does eventually become the hero spirit, it's safe to say that this incarnation is a Form 2 Makashi practitioner. But what about a character who has a sword but never used it at all, except for showing it off until Ultimate? And I'm talking about...
Oh snap, it's Ganondorf, try to shotgun my style. Batman's cape, Lincoln's beard, will you trust my...
Imagine being the king of evil, but the first thing you do is play a game of ping pong with the hero of time. Now, the best thing about Ganondorf is that it does seem like all Gans are the same, except for Tears of the Kingdom. He probably has no relation with this Gan. Now, despite not being able to use a sword in older Smash games, he does finally use it in Smash Ultimate. But the problem here is that the Ganondorf here is Ocarina of Time Gan, who at the time never used the sword. But he did eventually become either Wind Waker Gan, where he goes full on Jarkai mode, or Twilight Princess Ganon, where he tends to fight like a Form 2 Makashi. And again, in Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf just shoots balls to play ping pong and still loses, because he's not a good Form 5 Shin user. Now, I was actually considering him to be a Form 7 Geo, but I feel like that should be Tears of the Kingdom timeline Ganon. I mean, since Ocarina of Time Ganon will eventually become Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and maybe Decline timeline Gans, since they're probably all the same, I think Ganondorf is a Form 2 Makashi, not even a Form 7. Maybe the next character might use that form. That character? There he is, the ultimate Pokemon. Second, when Arceus might be number 1. Mewtwo should have been easy, but the problem is trying to figure out his canon story. Like, for example, is the Mewtwo in the games the same as the anime Mewtwo? Oh, Deus Ex Machina. Well, now that his anime backstory isn't canon, that's pretty much meaningless. After watching a few videos, it does seem like Mewtwo is still some form of hatred and anger when he was being born and experimented. So regardless of his backstory, it does seem like he still has some form of edginess to it. With that being said, Mewtwo is a Form 7 Juyo or Vapad? I don't know, it really depends on the situation. Honestly, for now I think he's a Vapad. But if he never got a sad backstory to begin with, he'd probably be a Neiman. Now we go back to the boy. Even since Melee, we had 2 anime Fire Emblem sword fighters, and I admit, I never played Fire Emblem on the GBA, but no one probably has, because American localization or something. The only thing I know about Roy is that he has a sword and it has fire, yep, so yeah, Form 2 Makashi it is then. I mean, it's not like he has a big sword or anything. And speaking of big sword, I gotta admit, back in the Smash 4 days, a lot of people were debating who was gonna be in Smash 4, since no one knew who was the main protagonist gonna be, Chrom or Robin. Chrom is clearly the Lord, but Robin is the self-insert avatar character. Ultimately, it was Chrom who was the main protagonist, and fuck you, Chrom, my boy Robin got to Smash first than you! But But despite being an Echo Fire next game, do you really think that a man who dresses up like that showing off his muscular arm just because it has a royalty birthmark means he's a Form 2 Makashi? Nah, Crom would be a Form 5 Jim So, straight up. And now to move on to the last fighter. Ah, Mr. Game & Watch. While I'm not exactly his main, I'm always happy to see him in future Smash games, even if his render is a bit simple and generic. Now, Game & Watch is a man of a million jobs. He's a lion tamer, a juggler, a firefighter, gas station jockey, a chef, a gardener, a sewer plumber, pretending to Mario, a cement worker Mario, a genocidal native killer, and Vietnam War vet Mario. We don't talk about Vietnam Mario. And hey, he even became Mickey Mouse at some point. Guess the Disney connection is a lot deeper than I thought. But despite Game & Watch's hard-working nature, I was considering to turn him into a Form 6 Neiman, but after looking into his games, I realized that combat games are a bit lacking, next to him being Popeye and maybe him becoming a boxer. There's really not much for him to do, but I do believe that Mr. Game & Watch is a Form 5 Xian. I mean, when you think about it, most of his games are usually just deflect the projectile back. So I do think that Mr. Game & Watch might be a perfect Xian user. Oh, and watch out for number 9.
You know what? Last minute change. Bowser should be Form 5 Jim So. I don't know, I think he's just too big to be Vapad. As for Ganondorf, I'm still sticking to what I said. Not every Darkseid user has to be a Form 7 Geo, even though he's a reincarnation of Demise, but I'm still sticking to what I said, alright?
Well, 2 games down, 3 to go, until the next Smash game gets announced. So yeah, this is pretty much the Lightsaber Forms of the Melee newcomer roster. I may or may not change it, but only time will tell. So if you enjoyed this video, please click the like, share it to your friends, especially if they like Smash Bros. And Star Wars. Give me your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe if you want more videos. So tune in next time for the next episode where I cover the newcomers of Smash Brawl.
Father, my father far is for freedom arisen.
I ruined the intro for Melee, guys. I'm so sorry.